And Stephanie, a true definition of a Santa Claus rally is one that takes place between Christmas and New Year's. So the downtime that we're seeing right now might actually make it look better for that happening. If we were really strong this week, it'd probably be less likely.
Well, it's entirely possible, Becky, because seasonally this is the time when the markets usually do pretty good. It's obviously lower volume as people do travel, but I also think that there's a lot of defensive positioning this year, even more so than normal. And so hopefully we can get a rally. The problem is I'm not sure it can last. I think we're going to be in this choppy trading range and kind of have felt like that for the last several months because we just don't know what the impact is going to be in terms of the Fed rate hikes and the lag impact. That all being said, I actually feel a little bit better about where we are in the economy, just given all the data that we have seen over the last couple of weeks. It's not all gloom and doom, and I kind of feel like everybody is gloom and doom. It's almost to the point of how many times can we sell off on the same bad news of the Fed and of inflation and of a slowing economy? So I'm trying to look for opportunities, even though I think we're probably going to be in a choppy environment.
Yeah, I like your point. The Santa Claus rally doesn't really matter to an average investor who's in this for the long term. The only people who care about it are managers who are trying to outflank the benchmark, or at least not look as bad against the benchmark for the end of the year. It's like window dressing, right? Okay, so I get that. Your point about thinking that maybe the doom and gloom has hit a peak, at least temporarily. This is going to be an ebb and flow. I liked what you said about how Tepper didn't concern you all that much yesterday, that it's not surprising to have a hedge fund manager who is going to be short on equities, short on bonds. That's his job as a hedge fund manager. But you see some bright spots. I forget what the companies were, a couple of consumer names, Nike, Starbucks, I think, were two that you liked. What is it that makes you think the consumer's going to hang in?
Well, I mean, I think that first and foremost, I mean, the savings rate is still at about 3%. Wages are going higher and inflation is coming down. So that's actually a good thing, right? Everyone all year long have been saying, well, wages are going up, but inflation is so high. So the purchasing power for consumers is really not what you think it is. And I actually do believe very strongly that the consumer is in really good shape. And it's really been a bad bet to bet against the consumer. We are a nation of spenders, believe it or not, even if we have to take on debt or not, right? So I do think, though, that jobs remain strong. And obviously we know that that's what the Fed is focused on, jobs and wages. But the fact of the matter is there are more job openings than unemployed people. And if you get a job, you're making more money. So I think that the consumer certainly is going to be pinched for sure. But I do think that they will hang in there. Yeah, and I do think I was very encouraged with the Nike results earlier this week. Starbucks actually also had better demand. I think there's a lot of areas in the market that they're giving us opportunities. I still like energy very much. I still like the industrials very much. I think GE is certainly interesting. I think Zoetis is certainly interesting. I mean, that stock is down 30%, and that total addressable market for animal health is $90 billion by 2030. So a lot of opportunities. Try not to get caught up in the negativity and thinking for the long term. That's sort of kind of what I'm trying to do in a challenging year.
Stephanie, are you around next week or are you off?
I am off. I am actually traveling. So I'll report back the following week in terms of what my findings are. But I suspect there are a lot of people that are going to be traveling. And in fact, yesterday's GDP number, we got services. The services numbers were much stronger than expected. So that kind of confirms that a lot of people are doing things, getting out of the house.
Put a lot of water in that tree.
Yeah.
So you're going to be gone for a long.
The reason I was asking though is I'm here at the end of next week. I wasn't sure if I was going to see you again. Since I'm not going to, I just want to say thank you. I love having you on.
Oh.
You're an excellent guest. We
thank you.
Look forward to what you have to say.
You.
So Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we will see you next year, Stephanie.